Hello, FreeJord. I really appreciate you watching and commenting. Now, let's listen to the story.
Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user TomatilloOK4633. Am I the a-hole for refusing to apologize to my husband's friend after I insulted his marriage? I, 36 female, am married to my husband Sam, 47 male. He's known his group of friends since he was about 16 and he's specially close to one. Let's call him Victor. He has been a recurring problem. I met my husband just before COVID. During lockdown, we talked a lot, connected deeply, and once restrictions eased, we met and clicked immediately. I knew early on he was someone I could spend my life with. Because of COVID, I didn't meet his friends many times before he proposed. I met Victor twice and he seemed really nice. Me and my husband dated for a year, got engaged and planned our wedding for 2 years after our first date. At the time of our wedding, COVID restrictions were still strict in my country. If either the bride or groom tested positive, the wedding would be cancelled. I asked my husband to be extra careful, especially in the 2 weeks leading up to the wedding. There's a particular nightclub locally that was basically known as COVID Central. People constantly caught COVID there. His friends wanted to throw him a bachelor party. I agreed, but asked that they do it a month before the wedding, not close to the date. Victor insisted on holding it 10 days before the wedding. I was uncomfortable, but I wanted my husband to celebrate. I told my husband to have fun, but to just avoid that specific club. He agreed and told his friends. Victor took him to that club anyway. My husband insisted to leave, but Victor guilt-tripped him into staying, saying he booked a $1,000 VIP table despite my husband saying no. My husband is a huge people pleaser and went along with it. 4 days before our wedding, my husband tested positive for COVID. 5 other guys who attended the party got it too. I was devastated and furious. We had to postpone the wedding by a week, pay extra fees, and some of my family who had gone through a lot to attend, international travel was very difficult then, couldn't make it anymore. I seriously considered not marrying him, not because he got sick, but because he didn't stand up for himself or us. Ultimately, I let it go after my family and friends encouraged me to be understanding. This wasn't my only issue with Victor. 3 months before the wedding, my husband was renovating his flat and needed temporary storage for his TV. Victor had borrowed $100,000 from my husband to buy a 6-bedroom landed house that he lives in with just his wife. 4 bedrooms are empty. My husband asked Victor for a favor if he could store his TV in one empty room for a few months. Victor said no, claiming his wife wouldn't allow it and he feels that having a TV, even though boxed up, isn't great because it would ruin the aesthetics of the house. He suggested my husband store it in the garden, where he keeps tools, knowing it would get damaged if it rains. My husband didn't push and I ended up storing the TV in my bedroom at my parents' place. I'm Asian, live in an extremely expensive city and moving out before marriage isn't common. For your information, Victor paid the money back but took him 2 years to do so. Victor is a lawyer and so is his wife. He drives a fancy car and always needs to look rich. Victor has also been openly chauvinistic. After we got married and hang out a bit more, I see his true colors. At a party, after his wife had recently given birth, I told her she looked amazing and glowing. Victor chimed in and said, "No, she still has weight to lose and pimples to get rid of." I was livid. She looked incredible. Her waist was probably 25 inches 3 months postpartum. I immediately shut him down. He frequently speaks harshly to my husband. For example, his 4-year-old daughter was trying to explain a game. I got the game immediately because I work with kids. My husband took a while to get it. Victor said, "Wow, you are extremely slow. What a useless person you are," in a joking manner. It's this type of joke of putting him down that Victor enjoys, and I feel so uncomfortable. I understand guys joke harshly, but to call someone useless, stupid, or a loser is just cruel. My husband will laugh it off. My husband, on the other hand, has never called anyone nor any of his friends like that or put them down. I've had to stand up for my husband more than once, tactfully of course. When I asked my husband why he tolerates it, he just said, "Victor is like that. They have been friends for more than 30 years. Victor treats his wife terribly, openly admits he doesn't love her that much, calls their relationship transactional, and sees her primarily as someone who supports his career and property investments because she is also a lawyer. He never takes her on dates and refuses to travel alone with her. He always insists my husbands or other friends join them. I rarely hang out with them because I don't want to put myself in a situation where I get worked up by his comments. Fast forward to a few days ago, Victor called my husband. My husband put him on speaker because Victor video called him and my husband didn't want to hold his phone. I was beside my husband in the study working. Victor insisted my husband go on an overnight trip out of the country with him and his wife. My husband didn't want to go. We have cats and would need to arrange care. Our cousin usually comes to stay for a week when we travel. Asking her to come for just one night felt unreasonable. When my husband suggested a day trip instead, Victor got angry. He said things like, "Is it because your wife won't let you? Is it because you have no money? I'll pay for the sitter. What a loser you are. I'll pay, bro. Give me a price. What nonsense excuses." It went on and on. Then Victor said something that got me so worked up. "You've changed ever since you married her. She's controlling you, isn't she?" That's when I snapped. I said, roughly, "I'm here, and yes, I'm going to control this conversation. I'm sorry your relationship with your wife is so miserable that you need to interfere in ours to feel better. It's pathetic that you can't be alone with your wife and need my husband as a buffer." My husband said no. No means no. Please respect his boundaries and F off. Then I ended the call. My husband was shocked, but he understood that Victor went too far. I told him I was hurt and disappointed that he didn't immediately stand up for me when Victor blamed me for controlling him. My husband apologized and said he planned to talk to Victor and set boundaries, especially because they have mutual friends they hang out with a lot in groups. But Victor now refuses to speak to him unless I apologize for insulting his relationship. I don't want to apologize. I feel bad for exploding, but I'm exhausted after years of disrespect. What should I do? Am I the a-hole? No, OP, and you shouldn't apologize. Or maybe say something, "I'll apologize to Victor after he apologized to me and to you for everything he's done to us." Additionally to that, I would sit down with him and ask him, what does he get from this friendship? I mean, Victor is just mean. He's a bully and he treats people poorly. Why is he still friends with him? Out of guilt? Does he owe Victor something? I don't know. I would ask him. But I would also make it very clear that the way Victor is treating him is not the right way a friend treats people they love. But to your point, OP, no, you shouldn't apologize at all. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. True Highlight 6198 says, "Victor not speaking to your husband. Win-win if I ever saw one. Good riddance, and please, please do not apologize." Horror Teach 3489 says, "Definitely not the a-hole. He was definitely taking advantage of your husband because of his people-pleasing nature. And you definitely did the right thing for telling him off. And your husband should cut him off entirely. He is a bad influence and a bad friend. I would have cut him off the second he borrowed 100,000 for a house and not pay it in time." Well Done 22 says, "Not the a-hole, but your husband is spineless. Victor can't make him do anything he refuses to. I think you should focus on the husband problem first. Why isn't he the one cutting Victor out instead of making you the heavy?" Well, the community agrees OP is not the a-hole and that the husband needs to solidify his spine and kick Victor out of his life. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. First, thank you to everyone who took the time to respond. I read all of it, even the hard and heartbreaking comments. I needed to hear them. I won't be showing this post to my husband as some of you suggested, at least not now, as some comments were very harsh toward him. And while I understand, and to be honest, I do agree to some of it and attempted to let him read, he's currently in therapy, about a month in, and I don't want to discourage his progress. I do agree that he struggles to stand up for himself. This has been a recurring issue in our relationship and something we've talked about extensively. My husband is very patient, gentle, and always sees the good in everyone, sometimes to his own detriment. I'm the opposite. I am very direct. I communicate and speak up, especially when I see someone being mistreated. That's why I spoke out when Victor was being mean to his wife. I later told my husband that a good friend should call that behavior out. He shared that he and other friends have tried before, but Victor laughed it off and dismissed it, and they eventually gave up. Victor knows I don't like him. He overcompensates by praising me publicly and sometimes saying things like, "I'm too good for my husband," which I always rebutted and say that me and my husband are very lucky to have each other, and buying expensive gifts, which makes me uncomfortable. It feels performative, like proof that he's nice and I'm the problem. I've never bought into it, especially after seeing how he treats his wife. But you're also right in saying that Victor isn't the problem. My husband is, for letting this happen. My husband only sees Victor every couple of months, usually because Victor initiates. In therapy, my husband is unpacking why he still feels tied to him and not able to stand up for himself, etc. But for context, Victor was his first friend when my husband returned to the country at 17 and introduced him to the group and always invited my husband out to hang out, play games, etc. and has always included my husband in many things he does. So there's a strong sense of loyalty. Victor also fits a narcissistic pattern, the friendship bombing, followed by the occasional praise mixed with constant jokes that are actually mean. To give you a bit of context, my husband's family ran a business abroad for a while and he was away between the age of 11 to 16. His parents moved back and basically my husband had to start a whole new life again in his late teens. I know it's not an excuse, but I guess it's a start of recognizing what is causing him to stay in this group of friends. I took some of your advice and we spoke again today. He plans to talk to another friend in the group. Let's call him Pete. Pete and Victor have a very banterish kind of relationship. He always calls Victor out, but put it across as like a joke or banter. I explained to my husband that what Victor does to my husband, though, isn't banter, it's bullying. Banter goes both ways, and that if he needs to share what happened to someone, Pete will be best, as I've seen Pete speaking up for my husband. My husband agrees. Yes, I chose to marry my husband and I accept that. While I wished I had seen the depth and his people-pleasing earlier, he has treated me with love and kindness, and I do love him deeply, and he is a good man. He isn't perfect, and I'm not too, and our relationship isn't perfect, but I believe people can change if they want, and he's actively trying. I'm not giving up just yet, and I've given him time to work on this, and I'm just hoping that this will all work out. My husband apologized again for not standing up sooner. He understands that Victor needs to be cut out. For now, he's distancing himself and won't be attending any of Victor's invites, any game nights at Victor's place, or engaging with him. It's not perfect, but it's a start. Once again, thank you all for reading such a lengthy post and helping me out with my thoughts. Well, OP, hopefully therapy helps your husband strengthen his spine and just tell Victor to F off like he deserves. But in the meantime, here's wishing you both the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user NeedCopy7062. Am I the a-hole for not buying my niece a concert ticket for Christmas? Hi, I need a quick judgment since there's still tickets available on the website. So in addition to our regular presents, we've gotten our daughter a ticket to a concert happening on the 30th. I'm going too, primarily because I need to take her, but also I like that band's music and I want to go with her. It'll be a nice experience. Today, my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, called me and asked what we are doing on New Year's Eve. We're having a Christmas family dinner as it is. I said I'm not sure, I'll probably be super tired from the drive back. The concert is on the 30th, and so we're staying there overnight before driving back, and told her we'd gotten our daughter a surprise concert ticket. She seemed a bit disappointed and said her daughter would have loved to go, asked if tickets were available. I said I didn't know, and she reiterated her daughter would have loved to go too. I hate saying it, and please don't take this the wrong way, but my husband has his business and I'm a working professional too, and our daughter is an only child, so I understand the difference in spending constraints. Anyway, we hung up later and I felt terrible. I looked it up and there are still tickets available. But also, if I get her a ticket for her with the confirmation wrapped up like I'm doing for my daughter and give it to her to be opened at the dinner, my husband's brother's daughter would then be the one feeling left out. So am I the a-hole for not buying her a concert ticket? Well, Opie, I don't think you're the a-hole, and I don't think your sister-in-law was implying that you were an a-hole. I don't know if she was trying to get you to get her a ticket, but, you could just play dumb. If she wants a ticket, she can get her herself, and if she can't afford it, well, I'm really sorry about that. But it's not on you to buy a ticket for her. And this would be a very fun experience for you to go with your daughter and bond over it. So no, Opie, not the a-hole. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Throwaway Boomer 27 says, "Girl, no, this is a gift for your child. If her daughter would have loved to go, she could have saved up, not the a-hole." Edit to add, her mother could have saved up. Thought that was common sense, lol. Historical Carpet 262 says, "Not the a-hole. Tell your sister-in-law if she ends up buying tickets for her and her daughter to let you know, and you'd love to meet up at the concert. Then you aren't excluding anyone, but you also aren't taking on any additional burden besides coordinating a meetup, which again should be inside the concert." Agreeable Dark 6408 says, "Please don't buy the niece a ticket after being hijacked by her mother. It won't be the last time she does this if you do. And yes, your other niece will be hurt even if you gave the ticket quietly. The other niece will find out. And now you know not to tell her stuff." And Kitty Yogi says, "Not the a-hole. Are your daughter and her cousins particularly close? Do they bond over the music? Yes, it might suck that your niece can't go, but frankly her parents could also buy the ticket. She asked if there were more instead of looking it up. If you're going to get tickets for one niece, then get for the others too. But also realize that this is setting the precedent, that you will be expected to provide other nice things for your nieces. So plan to be guilt-tripped about vacations, a car, a college fund, etc. Not everyone is going to get what they want. It doesn't make you bad not to provide for everyone." Opie's edit. To clarify, I meant if I get my niece the ticket, I'd have to give it to her at dinner in front of my other niece. The gifts we're getting our daughter will be opened by her on Christmas morning. Edit 2. Thought about it some more after reading the comments, and I'm not going to do it. It just won't be the kind of experience I wanted us to have if I do. And I really do adore my nieces, and it's not even really about the cost. I just want this to be me and her. Thank you for the help. Well, the community agrees OP wouldn't be the a-hole and encouraged her not to do it. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you to everyone for the advice in my first post. I'm really glad for it. I didn't end up buying my niece the ticket. Like I said back then, it wasn't about the cost as much as the experience that I wanted to have with my daughter. Like always, we gave her presents on Christmas morning, including the ticket confirmation when it was just us. She was so happy that the two of us were doing this together. We did ask her not to talk about it at the family dinner to her cousins. Not because they're jealous people. No, I love them. But they might feel a bit bad and they shouldn't have to on Christmas. She was fine with that, and it was good thinking on our part because at dinner she was asked what presents she got and she didn't mention the concert. We had an amazing trip, stopping along the way for food, getting dressed, screaming our throats out at the concert. When we got back, we watched a cheesy guilt pleasure of mine from when I was young, made in Manhattan. Please don't judge me. Missed our breakfast at the hotel, checked out a minute before it was due, and had dinner and lunch on the way back. I can honestly say it was one of the best experiences that I'm going to cherish forever. She's 15 and has grown into such a thoughtful young girl, and just typing this out is making me emotional. We actually did meet up with the family on New Year's Eve for the fireworks. Her cousins were excited to know how the concert was because she'd posted it on her social media. I had debated whether I should ask her not to, but I went against it. It's not a dirty secret after all, but maybe I could have suggested it. My sister-in-law said as a joke that she's the favorite child after all, at which my husband was genuinely confused and said she's our only child. I don't know if my sister-in-law meant to make a pointed remark or it was just a poorly delivered joke, but I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. Thank you for the advice. I truly appreciate it. Well, apparently the cousins weren't fazed, but yeah, that comment from your sister-in-law, that wasn't a joke. Sounds more like a backhanded comment, but honestly, just ignore the jealousy. You did well, OP, and now you have a great memory that both your daughter and you will cherish forever. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Just Amanda. Hit tuna fish and curtain rod. This was years ago, but I'm still proud of it. A girl in trade school would very casually call me a dyke because she thought it was hilarious. I never said anything about it, but I ended up at a house party at her house. I found a can of tuna and decided to go into a couple of vacant rooms, like the spare room and laundry room, and pull apart the curtain rods and stuff canned tuna in them. A master plan in my mind. That stuff stinks, and when you smell something weird in your house, you're going to check a lot of places, but never the curtain rod. 4 weeks after that party, I would overhear her talking to her friend about this smell that her and her boyfriend couldn't find. I got a lot of joy out of that. I should add, someone did walk in on me doing this. He just smiled and told me to carry on and left. He never did snitch. Nick, if you're out there, you're a real one. And that is a petty revenge. Well played, OP. And yeah, Nick, a real one. Thanks so much for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.